Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm taking a look at the Luckybox Smart Buzzer from Full Speed. So Full Speed is the company behind the Leader 120 and the Leader 3, and it is a buzzer that is designed to go off when your copter throws a battery, and it also works as a normal buzzer as well. So one of the problems with buzzers on quadcopters is that when it throws a battery, they're no use because, you know, it needs the battery to power it. So this isn't a unique product actually. I know there's a couple on the market. However, when looking at the prices of other products, they're around about $25 to $30, which is very expensive for what it is. So that's where this one's different. I think it's going to cost around about $10, which still seems a lot for a buzzer, doesn't it? Because you can pick them up for pennies to solder onto your copter. However, when you think about how much it could save you, if you have completely lost the copter and the battery has been thrown, then maybe $10 doesn't seem so bad. So the way that it works is it's got a little 1-cell battery attached to it, and you solder it up. So there's 3 wires. Now this one was sent to me as an early version, so there's no wires here, but you're going to get 3 wires, and there's a 5-volt and then 2 grounds. So one is designed to attach to your 5-volt in your ground for the buzzer on your flight controller, and then there's a third one for the ground as well. And I think that is so that it can be bypassed as a normal buzzer when the battery is plugged in. So we've got an LED here and we've got a button, and there are some instructions, however they aren't very clear. So what I'm going to do is solder this up to a quadcopter and see what it actually does. So my first idea was to fit it to this expensive KISS build, and just as a little taster, we have got the Mr. Steel PDB, we've got the KISS V2, we've got the Tramp HV with the NFC, so you don't even need to turn the copter on to change the channel, and we have Crossfire. But anyways, that's for a different video. So yeah, I thought the idea of this buzzer was you could pay the little bit extra, you know, if you've got a premium, maybe a long range quad out there. However, it doesn't quite work as it's designed to with KISS, and same with a couple of the Furious flight controllers as well. So it manipulates the way certain flight controllers, or should I say the majority of flight controllers, deal with the buzzer, and there are a couple of flight controllers that just won't play ball with this, but the majority of Betaflight ones will. So I'll just show you what's happening with KISS, and then I'll have to stick it on a different quad. So if I plug it in, so you get the 3 beeps. So if it just beeps once, it means that the battery voltage is under 3 volts, and if it beeps twice, then it's above 3 volts, and 3 times it's above 4 volts. So if I unplug the battery now, or it's had a crash and it flings, it will constantly sound, and it's not meant to do that. It's meant to individually beep, and the way that you stop it is press the button 3 times and nothing happens. It carries on beeping. So if I plug the battery back in, you can still use it with KISS, but what you have to do is, once you've found your model, is you have to plug the battery back in, and then we can go 1, 2, 3, and it'll do this fast beep like that, and then unplug your battery and it no longer beeps. So you can use it with KISS, but it's not working as it should, because, you know, it's meant to go off as individual beeps so that you can get, you know, up to 12 hours of it beeping. And I think with it constantly beeping like that with this little tiny battery, then it's probably not going to last that long. So I just wanted to show you that, because, you know, I think maybe people who have the more expensive KISS builds will want something like this, but it doesn't quite work as it should. So I tried the buzzer with the KISS board, and when it didn't work, I went to Lewis from Full Speed, and he said, yeah, it's not going to work properly with KISS, and also a Furious flight controller. He said try a Betaflight one. So I have. This is the HLRC Batman 220 and it's doing the same. So plug the battery in. So there's your 3 beeps. And then unplug it. And it's constantly on. 3 presses. Does nothing. Plug the battery back in. And it doesn't seem to be booting up when I plug the battery back in. And you do 1, 2, 3 to turn it off. 1, there you go. So yeah, it seems that this isn't working how it should, and this is the second flight controller that I have tried. So yeah, if you are using this, then it's going to be limited. I mean, it'll still work, you know, but with it sounding constantly, there, I think they say that with the 3-second intermittent beeps, you'll get 2 hours before the battery will run out, and then you can do 30-second intermittent beeps, so that'll give you 12 hours. But with it sounding constantly like that on particular flight controllers, and there's not a list of flight controllers, so you know, it's just hit and miss, then you know, the battery might not last very long. So definitely watch out for that. Okay, so third copter look. You know, I've chosen this one because I saw Stu from UAV Futures use the Hellgate buzzer on this model and it worked. So let's see if this one works now. So if I disconnect it, it's actually not supposed to do anything for a while. Then I think, depending on the settings, you leave it for 30 seconds or something like that, and then it'll start beeping. So yeah, it does look like that if you have a particular flight controller that's wired in a particular way for the buzzer, then it's not going to work the same. It'll work, it'll just sound all of the time. So let's just leave that there and see what happens after 30 seconds or so. So you can see there that it's just going off. And this is what you can do supposedly when it works, is now press it 3 times without the battery and it should turn off. So 1, 2, 3. And it's still going. You're supposed to leave a second between. There you go. Yeah, I didn't leave long enough time. So that's how you turn it off. So yeah, working on this copter, but it's not going to work the same for all copters. Okay, now this is working with the flight controller. I can show you some of the other settings. So when you get this and you just install it without changing any of the settings, when you unplug the battery, it will take 30 seconds for the buzzer to go off, and it will beep every 3 seconds, and with that setup it will beep for 2 hours and 30 minutes. But you can change the settings to get it working for longer periods, but to do that it just beeps less often. So what you have to do, it's a little bit fiddly, but we've got this button here. You hold it down for 5 seconds and then you let go. You get a long beep, and then the short beep is the first setting. So you've got 3 settings in this menu. So the first one is that it will beep after 30 seconds of being disconnected. If I press the button again, we get 2 beeps, and that means that it will start beeping after 60 seconds of it losing the battery. And then the third one means that it will beep after 120 seconds after the battery's been disconnected. Then there's another level of menus. So if we hold it down again for 5 seconds, it's about 5 seconds. So you get a long beep and then 2 short beeps. So the first option, let's press the button here. So 1, 2, that means that it is going to beep every 10 seconds. So there's going to be a 10-second gap between each time it beeps, which is going to make it harder to find, but that means that it will beep for 5.5 hours. So longer, you know, if it's lost in long grass or something. but harder to find because it beeps less often. So next one, 1, 2, 3, that means that it's actually going to beep every 30 seconds, and with that you will get 12 hours of beeps from a full battery, that is, and it charges off the 5 volt. That's why it's got the different beeps on the starter up to tell you what charge is in there, because it can kind of give you an indication of how long it's going to beep for it if you have lost it. And then the single option, that is going to beep every 3 seconds, but you'll only get 2 hours and 30 minutes of beeps out of that, but it will mean it's easier to find because it's beeping every 3 seconds. And then we have another 5-second press to get out of that menu, and then it's back to the main one. And there you go, that is my review of the Lukibox Lost Drone beeper. So yeah, I mean, it works on any flight control. It's just that some flight controllers have a constant beep and the battery isn't going to last very long, and then other flight controllers, when it does work, it's pretty nice and it's affordable. So I'll link it in the below, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.